Okay, I see some people are up nice and bright and early this morning, so good morning. Let me see. I just want to check really quick and make sure I have everything lined up. And just kind of moving things around. Ooh, that's a little bright. Let's see. Menu. Just checking my exposure. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Looks good. Tone that down. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's Saturday morning, what can I say? Starting a little bit later. Okay, let's see. Oh, hello, all from Germany. And there's Shannon, yay! Love back to you, Shannon. And I sound loud and clear, thank you. And good morning, Teresa. It's so funny. So this morning I was kind of taking it a little easy and was like, okay, it's not that big of a deal if I don't, open it up exactly at 7:30. And my husband is there and he is listening to some fly tires start a stream on Instagram. And it was kind of funny because as they started the live stream, they were like, okay, and we have these people on camera and we have this person doing that. And I'm thinking, try it like this. So yeah, anyhow, I did see how some people have really gotten their blossoms going and they looked so nice. Everybody seems to be doing a great job. I did work on it last night and I got a couple of pictures. I will post them today, but really all I did was just just define a few things. And obviously you don't need to see me doing every petal, so I'll be going back over it and then you'll be able to see, once I film face down, how everything is looking. And look down at Shannon. You are an awesome one-woman show. Yay! Thank you. Yeah, all those people that are using cameramen and all this other stuff, try to do this. So I had a good laugh about listening to that. So, and Loretta, hello from the chilly prairies. Ooh. And Rudis it's 5 o'clock in the evening where you are. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're just starting out on a beautiful Saturday morning. It's we've moved into fall here in northern Arizona, and all of our rain has kind of disappeared, and it's just nice days. We're still running in the high 70s, but it's just getting beautiful, so I'm enjoying it. But I'm also thinking ahead to some tutorials that I want to do for the winter here, like maybe do some pumpkins, but instead of like in front of hay bales and whatever, I thought I may do like maybe a pumpkin and a squash. I don't know, just some fall things, and do them on as a like I did my teacup and the lace, just not without lace, but kind of maybe do them as a little still life. So that's one of the things I was thinking of, just for fun, something for fall, and then maybe obviously something for Christmas. Haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do yet. I was kind of thinking of maybe a poinsettia. So, okay, while we're waiting for everybody else to kind of show up, if anybody has any questions, just kind of post them there, and we'll get them answered before I really get going on this. So, oh, I know one thing I was going to do. I'm going to let me grab, so I have a little piece of scrap paper here, and I want to really show you up close what happens. And I know you're already seeing this, but I really want to do an up close, just taking the three colors and kind of just blending them on the paper and kind of rolling it around. And that might be something too that you want to do if you're having a little bit of trouble getting all those different blends with the colors. So I was just going to make it really big and show you that this is another way, instead of, if you're struggling to with doing mixing the colors on the palette, this is just this is another good way to do it. And if you were watching yesterday, and if you're going to watch again, you're going to see that that's kind of what I do. I do a lot of things all at once. And I touched on this yesterday. I get people that ask me, well, what technique do you use? And I have to say, I use all of them. It just depends a lot on, number one, how I've started. On those first layers, I usually always have water down first and then paint. And then as I build up layers, I start using less and less water, sometimes no water. So it's very hard to pin me down on exactly where I'm starting. And sometimes, again, like I'm going to show you here, I mix the colors on the palette. And like I was showing you yesterday, I have a little center area so that I can grab from that, but I might grab from the yellow, the blue, the red. So I was going to kind of show that a little bit. And so I'm just going to kind of show some different ideas. And of course, again, everybody paints differently. And that's what I love towards the end when I see everybody's interpretation of that image. So, and that's why, and I know I go on these big long rants about this, it is not cheating to use a projector, to use a light table, to put it up to the window and try to trace that way. It is not cheating. The great old masters, that's how we discovered camera obscura, the camera lucida. Even those great masters were just trying to figure out a way to really get that image on the wall or, whatever substrate they were using to paint with. And this is a good example of why it isn't cheating. If we were all to take our paintings and compare them all, look at how different they all are. There's a big difference between painting and sketching and contour lines. So I'm excited to see how everybody's is going to turn out. Okay, so let's see. Teresa's asking, for the needles, did you mention that you would not first mask the needles, but glaze them first and then mask? Yes, I did say that. In fact, I'm thinking about it a lot, how I would actually attack that. And Shannon's saying my link for the downloads on the YouTube description does not seem to be working for me this morning. Okay, Shannon, did you go to the website? And if that's just about the downloads, I'll try to fix that later instead of fixing it right now. But if you're here, that means that my link for here is working. So I'll check that out. And it might be because I had copied and pasted some stuff, because there's now three live streams up there. So I might have to. I'll fix that in a little bit. But thanks for telling me that. Okay, so back to the needles. I've really thought about this a lot. Now I think it is going to depend also on how big the painting is. So let's just say I now decide to paint this, 20 by 20, 16 by 16, then I probably would mask them out, because then those needles are going to be really big, and you would really be able to see all the detail. What I would do, and I'm also going to live stream that. So I'm gonna live stream this again and bigger. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult because now my camera setup is for up close, but I will try to back out as much as I can. But I think how I'm going to attempt that is I'm gonna mask those needles out, but here's the thing. I'm going to mask them lightly. I'm not going to go all the way out to the edges of where the line is meeting the needle. And there's a reason for that. So probably what I would do is the same thing. I would go ahead and do that first layer of yellow. And you're going to see this. This is what I'm going to try, and I'm going to see how it's going to work. Mask those needles, keep in from the edge a little bit. Then take off all that masking fluid after I've done let me think this through. So I'm going to do the yellow. Then I'm also going to try to finish up. Wait. I'm confusing myself. Okay. So lay in the yellow, then mask, keeping inside of those lines so that the yellow is already on those needles. Then I'm going to mask and stay in a little bit from the edges. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish the background. Once it's done, I'm going to take that masking fluid off, and now when I use my scrubber brush, I will be able to soften the edges of those needles so they all won't be sharp. Because, those needles are round and we don't want them to look flat. So that's my idea of how I am going to attempt it when I redo it. So we'll see how that works. I actually, thinking it through a little bit more, I think that's going to be the way to do it. So you'll get to watch me again if you want. I'm not going to make a big deal about filming the big one. Instead of making, what would be the word? Instead of making posts about the exact days I would stream that, when I get ready to paint, I'm just going to stream. It'll go live, and then I'll post it, say, on my Facebook group. And then if you're signed up and if you subscribe, or if you're one of my subscribers on YouTube, it'll notify you. But I might stream for, a half hour, an hour, might stream for 3 hours. I'm not really sure. So I'm just going to make that one a little bit more casual. And then afterward, again, it will be available as a replay. So that's kind of how I'm going to attempt those needles again, and then you'll know when I get ready. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to show you where I'm at. Move that piece of paper. So this is what I did. So I kind of went in a little bit and I defined some of these areas. I took my brush and kind of cleaned up some of the edges. I just defined a little bit more of like little folds. So I did a little bit more, and I still think that's kind of washing out some of that color. There we go. Much better. Okay, so you can see that I just defined some of these areas a little bit, and same with down here. And I darkened that a little bit. So I really didn't do a whole lot. Darkened that shadow a little bit. But you shouldn't feel like you're going to miss anything because I'm still going to be going over that a little bit. So, yeah. So there we are. And let's see. Give me a sec here. Oh, and Shannon's saying the link from Facebook works perfectly good. And Teresa's saying thank you for the clarification on the needle problem. Yay. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. There's nothing wrong with saying, yeah, it's a little bit of a problem to figure out how to work it out. It's watercolor. It's not oil, so we don't have the luxury of just painting those in at the very end. We have to work that problem out. So we'll see. I think so far they look kind of cool. You know, again, you can see that the needles are kind of curved, that they're just not like laying there like this flat on the paper. I still probably want to put a little bit of that pink highlight in the center, you know, of where those little blossom things come out. But yeah, we'll see that. We'll see. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get started and define some more of these petals in the middle. I think I'm going to turn it. And of course, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Yeah, oh, that's the other thing I did last night. So hopefully you see that. You can see my hand, it's a little bit more natural colored, and I've got it set up a little bit better. Okay, let me get a drink of coffee here. Okay, good. Let me flip my image around. I think I'm gonna work. No, I am gonna go ahead and work right in this area. Let's see, let me go to my number 4. Oh, wait, before I do that, let me go ahead and just put this paper here. And I'm gonna get my number 6. Actually, I'm going to get that big, what is that called? The dragon's tongue, and just gonna put some water on this paper. I'm not gonna worry about how much it's sunk in. Just wanna show you this up close. Now you can kind of see what happens when you don't let the paper sink in all the way, or the water sink in all the way. You can see how it spreads out, but you know, that's why it's important to know at what level that water has sunk into your paper, because you can see how it affects how your colors spread. Look at how that yellow, it just kind of, see how it pushes? Let me pull that down a little bit more. Oh, good. There we go. Now you can really see it. Watch how it pushes away from that blue. And it kind of does it a little bit on the yellow. And look at what the blue does. As soon as you hit the paper, it kind of stays where you put it. Now watch what that yellow does. See that again? So when you know your pigments, you know what they're going to do. You know that yellow is always going to push something away, so you can use that to your advantage. And that's what I've been working on with knowing my my 3 colors. And look at how I can blend all those together, and I am getting absolutely no muddying. Now what happens when I kind of mix them a little bit more? Let's say I add a little bit more blue in that area. A little bit more yellow, and look at what it did. It just pushed and spread that blue out. So now what happens, I think it's really important to see this up close. It makes a huge difference. Now the water's kind of sitting on top of the paper still, but the colors are sinking in a little bit. And if you want to get more of those grays, but look at that beautiful effect. That is pretty near impossible with opaque colors. So I'm going to actually grab a little bit more water, and let's move some of that blue in there. Let's try to get that a little bit more, get it toned down a little bit and make it more of a gray. Yet, you can still see all the vibrant colors in there. Look at how beautiful that is. Because really, that's what grays are. So let me back out a little bit on that. Honestly, that's what your grays really look like. And if you do this in your paintings, seriously, I promise you, they're just gonna come alive. Oh, excuse me. That must have been the coffee. But this is why, and I know I keep repeating, but this is why 3 colors just work so beautifully. And you know what's going to be great? We're going to put this aside. I'm not going to touch anymore, and I'm going to get back to painting. But all those colors are, because it's really, really wet, they're still going to move, and they're going to start blending together more. And that, honestly, is how I get my paintings, how I get that glow in my paintings. So I'm going to put this aside, and we'll let it dry, and I'll keep watching it, and we'll see how that looks as it dries. And if you notice now, excuse me, it was the coffee going down wrong. Ooh, okay. Look at those colors, for instance. Look at that yellow and look at how it's glowing from underneath that petal in the front. And look right there. Look at how it is glowing. Even my shadow, because I just didn't stick a gray in there or water down a black, it's showing the true colors of a shadow. And you're seeing all this play with each other. And honestly, if you're taking a walk or you're hiking, get down close, really look at a flower, go in your garden, do this 2 or 3 times a day. Observe what those flowers look like in the morning versus the evening. And I promise you, you're going to see things that you don't normally see. And that really is the important part of how you learn to paint. And when you do it with 3 colors, you're only concentrating on those colors that you've got right in front of you. You're not going through 50 different colors. And look at that, you can still see them. Now they're starting to really blend in together. And you've got some gorgeous little orangish, grayish areas and some dark. I just think that is absolutely stunning when you paint like that. Okay, enough of that. Let's zoom back in. Boy, you can really see those whites starting to come out now. I can't wait to do this large. I wasn't honestly sure that there was going to be the vibrancy that I wanted in this cactus flower, because you tend to think of cactus as kind of boring and blah. Who wants to paint cactus? But all those subtle colors are they're just shining through. It's beautiful. Let's see. And Shannon's saying, almost all yellows push, don't they? Learning that changed my life. Yeah, it's true, because once you know what that color does, once you know what that characteristic of that color is, you use it to your advantage. Okay, let me just quickly right here, I want to put in a little bit more red in that area. And you notice that it seemed like I put a lot, and I'm putting it on that dry paper, but I have so many layers in there now that it's really starting to sink in. And now I'm going to add a little bit more blue. Now here's something that happened. I let the yellow come in a little bit too far, and so what did it do? It kind of dulled down that purple area, but that's okay. I still think it looks just fine. And I'm going to take some water, make sure I spread it out evenly so we don't get that line. Okay, now let's go up in this area. And okay, and obviously I have those lines there, but I think I'm going to make them disappear when I go ahead and make my shadows for that yellow. So I'm needing a little bit of yellow. I'm going to go with my 0. I'm going to kind of not go up into this area because that's where you get all those little kind of craziness. And I honestly not quite sure how I'm going to attempt that yet, but we'll see. I'm going to add in, I added a little bit of blue over here in my yellow, just a tiny bit. And I'm going to go ahead and come over into this petal right here so I can finish off. All of these little shadows. I can go back in there later and define those shadows a little bit more, but yeah, not right now. So see how I'm going over into the gray? Just making some little squiggly lines where those grays come down, and then I'll fix that little edge that I've got there. Let's grab some red. Now I'm going to switch back to my number 2. And there we go, just getting a light wash. And I just went right over those shadows. A little bit more blue, so I'm going to tone that down. Noticing more blue over here. So I'm doing on that piece of paper, I'm using that concept here. There's a nice fold right there. So I'm trying to grab more of my blue. And I know I've said this before, I would actually be doing this on the large Corel plates. So I wouldn't have to watch where my colors are going so much. And hopefully, back to yellow, hopefully you're seeing how great it is when you paint on a plate. You can wipe your colors off. You don't have these little, you know how you have the wells, and the wells just get all completely filled with gunk. It's just, I hate that. I just don't like that at all. Okay. Of course, the one drawback is yellow likes to move around. It's trying to attack my grays and my reds. Okay, let's move some blue back over here. Let's get some red in there. A tiny bit of yellow. It's kind of remixing that gray area. Now I'm going to pick up some yellow again. And a little bit of blue up in this area. Now back to some red. I should have waited a little bit. I'll come back to that. Okay, and we'll let that dry. Boy, when you get up close too, you can really see that glow in there, especially on that side. Actually, while I'm there, I really feel like I want some more yellow to kind of come down a little bit farther into that shadow. And adding a little bit more of that blue. And I don't know how that dot got there, but it seems to kind of disappear once it dries, but that's okay. I'll just pretend it's a little blemish. Oh, and then we've got a really beautiful little shadow there. Let me just hit that with a dryer really quick. So I just saw Loretta post, listening to your explanation on the 3 colors and their reactions gave me the aha moment. Also, I realize now my washes are often too strong. Yeah, that happens a lot. You're better off adding more layers so that you're kind of building up those colors. Oh, and Mary, I come from the graphic design world, and it stands to reason that you can get all the colors you need from the 3 colors we use. Most printers use CMYK. Hello, fellow graphic artist. I did graphic design and worked in commercial print shops for years, and yeah, that was the dawning moment for me too. It's like, well, we get photographs in magazines and on, obviously printing has advanced the technology. Now you have printers that have, 10 colors in it, but it's still the same basic idea. In fact, this palette that I'm using, it's called the printer's palette because it's the Magenta, well, kind of, it's a printer's palette. A printer's palette would be if I substituted that ultramarine blue for the phthalo blue green shade. That would be the cyan in the print world. So yes, it does stand to reason. Now, the thing is, because of the ultramarine blue that I'm using, I'm not going to get crazy vibrant greens in there, but that's okay because I'm going to make up for that with a dark value. Like you see in that image, that really dark value, that's going to make up for it. You could actually redo this and you could substitute the ultramarine blue for a phthalo blue, the green shade, and you'll get a lot more vibrant greens. So I knew that trade-off in the beginning, but I was okay with that because I just wanted some nice subtle colors, and sometimes phthalo blue can be really hard to use. And this flower is so subtle. My thought process was, if I had you use a phthalo blue on this very light, basically these petals are white, you would have really struggled and you would have had a hard time with too intense colors on these petals. So that's why I made that decision. And it may be that when I go back and do it bigger, I don't know, maybe I might switch to the phthalo blue green shade so I can get those vibrant greens. But I'm going to know how to control and handle them and use them carefully down here in these petals. But really, it's just all in the matter of what you're looking for in your painting. And that also comes with just experience. I didn't know all that when I was first painting, obviously. And sometimes it's almost good when you paint with a phthalo blue. Sometimes it's a lot easier to dull a color down than it is to try to brighten a color up. So I know that going, again, I know that. I know that that ultramarine blue, because it has a little bit of red in it, is not going to make totally vibrant greens like we're seeing in that image. But I'm confident that it's going to look great. Okay, that looks really good. Now let's switch to a bigger brush and let's go back over in here, and I'm not going to wet it. I'm going to try to paint around some of those cool little light spots in there. Probably isn't going to work very well, but this is all part of that same shadow right there. Now I'm going to grab some red. And I'm going to grab some of that blue. See how I did the exact same thing here that I did on that piece of paper. And that's why, and I know we've talked about this a lot, do your color wheel. Do that little recipe card. It's going to make a huge difference. You're testing your colors first. And then, see, you would have kind of learned that. You would have gone, ooh, do I really want to go with the ultramarine blue? Do I want to switch out to a phthalo blue? And boy, that is going to teach you so much. You're really going to learn so much. And then, once you've really got the foundations down, if you want to use 5 or 6 colors, which would be called like a split primary palette, then do that. But, you know, it's like anything. You have to understand in music, notes, dance, all the basic moves before you can really start getting creative with things. It's just learning the foundations. And I will tell you that most artists, the longer they paint, the less colors they start using. They really start getting into a simplified palette. May not necessarily be 3, although there are. Jean Dobie's one. Oh my gosh, her work is stunning. She uses 3 colors, 3 transparent staining colors. I absolutely adore her work. It's beautiful. Okay, let's see. Shannon, thank you for sharing your thought process as to why you chose whether to use phthalo versus ultramarine. My instinct is warmer, ultramarine versus cooler, phthalo. That is true, but even with that phthalo, I can warm it up. But these petals are so delicate, I was like, ooh, if I bring in phthalo, I think people might really struggle with the minute it goes down on your paper. It's a little bit harder to move around. You have to be a little bit more careful. So yeah, that was one of my decisions. And any of you that are a little bit more advanced, you were probably wondering the same thing, going, why didn't she use a phthalo yellow? Well, that's the reason. I'm a little bit, if it was going to be a flower, like say an iris petal that was maybe purple and yellow, I definitely would have gone with a phthalo blue, but that's the decision I made, and so we'll see how that pans out. Okay, so now I'm going to come right over here, and let's get kind of a duller yellow, and it's still dry. Let's move it in to that shadow. Let's pull that down a little bit. That kind of helped it, because I'm going to actually have to go in there and probably fix that pencil edge. Oh, you know what? I didn't come up into this little area now, did I? So now I'm going to have to blend it out in there, add a little bit of water. Let's add a little bit more yellow. Let's try to find a clean spot to get some clean blue. and yellow and go right along that edge right there. Edges are very important when you're doing really light petals. You want to make sure that you've got that a dark area is meeting a light area so that it helps define those petals. I'm going to come right here and add a little bit of that blue and a little bit of red. And then a little bit more yellow. You know, something else I had done, and you have probably done this too, if most of you, at least if you've been painting a while, you know, you always see these books or videos about making these color charts, taking all your blues and all your yellows and making all these different greens, doing the same thing with purple. I just, honestly, there's no point in that. Because what are you going to do now? You're going to look at that color and you're going to go, well, what do I do with it? Where am I putting this? It just, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, great. You can mix all these colors, but how does that relate to what you're painting and the colors that you're painting with? If you go to use that, now you're trying to figure out how is this going to harmonize in my painting. Frankly, I just think it makes the whole thing more confusing. So right away I quit doing those because, you know, I noticed that. It's like, what in the hell am I even, how is this even helping me? Did I just cuss? Oh no. I don't want to get banned from YouTube. Oh boy. Knowing my luck, I'll get banned from YouTube while those bots can go ahead and keep posting that trashy stuff. Okay, that looks really nice under there. Let me add a little bit more blue. Okay. And now let's go a little bit more back on to this petal. And you know, the fun thing about when you mix your shadows, well, every single one of us is going to lean either more towards the yellows, more towards the reds, more towards the blues. And I think that's pretty cool. And you'll see that start to come out in your paintings. You'll notice and go, oh, you know what? I tend to use a lot more yellow. And look at this person's paintings. They tend to use a lot more blues. Or this painting tends to lean a lot more towards those reds. It's kind of interesting how that happens. Oops! Ah! Okay, I'm gonna redo that. You didn't even see what I was doing. Oh my gosh. So sorry about that. I just put a little bit of the yellow. And I'm gonna add a little bit more red and a little bit more blue. There we go. Very nice. Okay. I'm going to turn it again, and let's finish up these top petals. Actually, let's turn it back around and let's zoom out. Let's see how we're looking. Woohoo! Very nice. Look at how I darkened up right there. It kind of brought that petal a little bit forward. Let me switch the image back around because I just want to get a good idea of where I'm at. I like that I added a little bit more dark there, and also that little area right there, that burnt sienna. I've got that. I have a little shadow there. I need to kind of finish up that. And this petal right here is really, it's going to have a lot of lines in it. Let's see what else. I can see over in here, I really need to get this part of this petal darker. So I'm going to flip it back over, but you can really see those petals just, they're glowing with color. You can just really feel the sun hitting that. Thank you, everybody. Again, I'd like to see somebody else try this and do all the filming by themselves. So there, right? Okay, let's zoom back in. Okay, let's get maybe a little bit closer. Can I get that close? I can. Okay. Yep. Ooh, look at how close I am. All right. Here we go. If I get out of the screen, I'll try to keep an eye on that. Okay. Oh, let me flip the image around and enlarge it a little bit. All right. So I can see right here, need to add, just tone that down just a hair because it's behind and it's in shadow. Just added a little bit of color, right? A little bit of the red and the blue. Now that I'm looking at it this direction, I can see this needs, that shadow right there needed some more yellow. And where am I? Okay, let's grab, I'm just being silly this morning. What can I say? It's a Saturday. We're supposed to be having fun, right? I can be silly and still paint. All of us can. It's supposed to be fun. Oh, by the way, if you hear noise in the background, it's my husband's home today. So you might hear him, oh, I don't know, yelling at the dogs, running the microwave. All right. There's a little edge of white there, and I've kind of missed it a little bit, but that's okay. I can catch it later. And it's another petal. Now let's come up here, and I'm going to just do the same thing. There's some beautiful little shadows in there. I don't know what it is, why I love all the details so much. I just feel like you're in just this different world. It's like every little area of a flower, it's its own little world. See how I kind of transitioned from that yellow right into that blue, and that's keeping. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow. So I'm always trying to alter my colors so that, let me switch to an even smaller brush. Picking up some thick color, because there's a gorgeous little edge. To those shadows. And look at how that just brought it forward. And of course it'll, the saturation will drop down a little bit. And actually I'm gonna do that right over here. Okay. I've taken just a little bit of that darker yellow. I'm going right along that edge. And once it dries, it's going to blend in pretty well. Better. Let's see, just saw, oh, yeah, everybody, thank you. Yeah, I think it looks great. And Mary says, I've got the photo on my iPad so I can rotate and zoom in to follow you. This is the best tutorial ever. Oh, thank you. I love my new camera. It's awesome. I love being able to zoom in. So, whoops, let's grab a little bit of that blue right there in this. I'm adding some red. And I'm just going to kind of, ooh, a little bit too much, but that's okay. I kind of want it to be darker there. Let me pick up some of it. Okay, where am I? Got a little lost. And that'll dry a little bit lighter. But, whoop, again. Okay, so I just added a little bit right there. And let's see, let's go in just a little bit. Let's define this little area right here a little bit more. Aha. Switch back and just kind of blend that out. Okay, let's pick up. And where am I? There was just a lot of folds there. I keep kind of getting lost. Again, it's just on the dry paper. I think I need a little bit more blue in that. Now I'm just going to let it blend out a little bit. So I can see there's that edge of that petal that's right there, but it's very, very light. In fact, let me pick up some of that. And let me grab a little bit more blue. And right over here, this little beautiful little area. And then I'm just going to continue right on over. See how I'm kind of staying in the middle, I'm staying away from that edge. And it's going to dry a little bit lighter. Oops, let's pull it down. Add a little bit more of that blue and red. Okay. while I'm over here, start adding in some of those darker values right under that area. Okay, I've got that little area right there. Okay, so now just get a little bit, some of that yellow off my brush. Pull a little bit of that shadow down. See how light I am? Just have a lot of water on my brush. I'm gonna get my 5-aught brush so I can get some little tiny creases right in there. Okay, I think that's looking good. Oops, that just put, okay, so now I'm gonna flip it back over and I'm gonna turn my image. Okay, let's see how this is. Oh, come on. Okay, let's see some, let's see, let me look at some questions. Let's see, I agree. Oh, Shannon says I agree too. The tutorials may be longer, but I love the real-time, unedited nature of this so we see it all. Yep, warts and all, right? So, and then Diana, I find it so hard to maintain the bright of the white when painting white subjects. You make it look so easy. Well, that's because I keep it very, very light. I try to just build those layers. It's, you know what, we all kind of want to rush some things. And honestly, when you're painting in layers like I do, you're not just painting one painting, you're painting like 10 paintings because you're going over and over it. But it's hard not to get frustrated and just want to put the color down right as you see it. But again, it kind of takes away from seeing all those, you know, all those beautiful folds and everything that you get when you are doing it layer by layer. And so it seems like when you do have the micro freezes, it's happening with your down-facing camera. It is, and I figured it out. It's a setting in OBS, and I did not. Okay, so OBS is a free, but a very technical and great platform. Oh, see, it's getting lighter outside, so let me tone down my lights a little bit. Hold on. There we go. Better. So what's happening, and Diane probably knows this, I've been testing it without streaming, and it's freezing. So somehow over the last few weeks, I don't know what's happened. Maybe I messed with something on OBS. I haven't used OBS, this program that is helping me do all the transitions and stream right into YouTube. So something is going on. I'm not exactly sure what it is. So yeah, that's an issue that's going on right now. Maybe Diane can help me fix that. I don't want to mess if I messed with it last night, I might not have been able to stream. So I figured Just leave it alone. Because I also tested it with another program that I use called Minicam, and I did not have that issue when I was streaming. So yeah, don't know what's going on with OBS, but I'm just Diana, maybe it changed with the latest OBS update. So it was happening before I did the update. So I don't know. There's so many settings in there that I didn't want to mess around with it while I was getting ready to do this stream this morning. So I tried looking it up online, but it talked about a lot of scary settings that I'm just not really sure about. And Diana says again, sometimes they revert back to standard setting. Ugh. Yeah, I'll have to kind of play with that and figure it out. If you know some other ideas, Shannon or Diane, please let me know. Okay, so now let's get Teresa. I haven't started painting this cactus yet, but I think I will do a practice on the little areas since I see each area as a mini tutorial. Thank you, Debbie. It is, isn't it? Oh, and Shan said, it's not bad. I just wanted to let you know what I observed. Yeah, as I look up, because I have to, not only do I have to paint, I also have to look up at the YouTube link streaming, and I have to look up at my OBS, you know, to make sure that everything is flowing. And I'm seeing that too. And Mary said, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't happen often, and it doesn't last long. Yeah, that's true. But it is bugging me. Ugh, that's so irritating. And if I was a tech person, you know, I'd be figuring it out. And hopefully Diana has some other ideas. Okay, let me zoom in just a little bit more. And okay. Add a little bit of that blue. I'm using a small brush again because I want to be able to get these little stripy things that are going through it. See how I'm kind of dragging some of those shadow areas down? Ooh. Well, that'll tone down a little bit. See, now I notice as I'm transitioning over to this area, it's getting more and more blue. See how the lines I pulled down, they stayed there. Oh, and the other thing I'm going to do too is if you've lost some of your whites, don't panic. You can scrub them out. And actually, scrubbing is a big part of my paintings. I think that I love that you get such a gentle edge that I don't think that you can get by just trying to feather things out as much. Going to add a little bit more yellow in this area. Right there. Boy, wait till you see how this is going to turn out when we put in that dark, dark value right there. In fact, why don't I just go ahead and do it now so we can see how that's going to look. And remember, I've got it masked. I think it goes about right up to here. Okay, I think I'm just going to keep heading around. I know I have a couple of those more petals to finish, but I just want to just go ahead and put some of these dark areas in. And yes, I did. Obviously, you can see I didn't wet the paper. Let me get a bigger brush so I can kind of blend that out. And honestly, now that I'm looking at it, let me clean a little bit of that blue off. I'm going to make a dam right there. There we go. And right there. Let's see. I need a bigger area than that. Okay, now I've got an area where I can make some of that green. Yes, I still have masking fluid on the stamens. And no, I'm doing this one on 300-pound paper, Shannon. I never use 140-pound. I just am I'm too rough on my paper. And you have to either use a watercolor block or you have to stretch your paper, and I don't like stretching paper. I'm so glad that's looking nice, because that's backing up what I was saying about why I chose the ultramarine blue. Is it as limey green as that center? No, but I actually think I kind of like that more subtle green. So this, it's still fairly wet right in that area, and that's how I'm able to add in all of those darker areas, but it still needs more blue and more yellow. Oh, that was that was a lot. Okay, now let's give it a look-see. Get some right in there. Now here's where the yellow is going to help me. It's going to push that blue back down a little bit, so it doesn't travel up too far. Okay, let's back that out and see how it looks. Okay. So now look at, wow. That's really, really coming forward. Noticed as I've looking at this bottom area, it was a little bit too red, those shadows, so I just am adding a little bit of yellow and a little bit more blue. It just really changed the whole thing. Shannon, I hate being disappointed when I do something I'm liking and then fighting it because it's on 140 pound. Yeah, I can't do it. I don't like stretching. And boy, I do a lot of scrubbing and it's very, very difficult on 140 pound. It's just really hard. The petals do look good, don't they? Thank you, Linda. Yeah, they just look soft and delicate. Let's see, let's scroll back. Yeah, okay, I think I've answered everybody's questions. And Mary says, look at that, look at the dimension, it's popping right off the page. It really is, isn't it? And that's what makes it so awesome when you finally get to this towards the end and you just see everything just starting to come together. It just, you know, sometimes the joy that you can get from painting or whatever, music, anything you do, it's the type of joy you just can't buy. Okay, so I am going to, now that I'm going to let that dry, so I'm just going to take my small brush again, and I'm going to just kind of quickly go around and add in some little strokes here and there. And then maybe add a little bit of gray over them. Ooh, right in here. Okay, so I've noticed those are a little bit rosier, those little shadows, so there we go. Let's pick up a little bit of yellow. And then I think I'm honestly pretty close to being done with the petals. I mean, obviously I could sit here for hours and just building more detail and fine-tuning all these lovely little folds. See how I went right up there into that shadow? See how just dropping a little bit of that blue right there just completely changed it, and now I can adjust over here and oops, that's a little bit too. Spread that out a little bit. Just kind of defining that petal edge a bit, and then I'm going to come down right into here. And then kind of blend it out into that little spot. Over that, let's see, there we go. And I'm going to connect that at the bottom now with some yellow. Ah, I love it. I just feel really happy this morning. Just feel like it's just so fun. More red. And then I think I've got it enough right in there. Might maybe just a little bit more. Ooh, okay. And now I'm going to switch to what is this? My number 2. Switching to my number 2. Okay. Let's pull some of that yellow. How fun is that those colors stay right where you put them and you can just keep going over with other colors. It's just lovely. Let's pick up a little bit of that blue. Now this area, I really want to get some yellow in there. See how I'm trying to leave little areas of white? Now add a little tiny bit of blue. And then it's bringing that little petal forward. And that was too blue. There we go. See, I just toned it down. And just a little bit more yellow right along here. Okay, I'm going to take some of that and just kind of define. See, just a very, very watery amount on my brush. See, I can go just right, I just went right over the previous color that I put there, and yet you can still see that through the paper. And nothing is muddied. So every previous layer is just adding to this new layer. Now I can go into these little dark areas right there. And yeah, I definitely lost some areas of my white, but all, I can just pull those out again with my handy dandy scrubber brushes. See, one more little area right over along I know I'm not zooming out in and out, but it's just a little bit easier for me to kind of just look quickly and just kind of pick out some areas I think that need some more darker values. See, like I just saw right there. I'm gonna add, look at that. I added a yellow, and now you can see it's almost like it's glowing from underneath that petal. And I can do the same right along there. I'm sure there's some things that I'm missing, but all in all, let me back out. And I'm so happy with this. Let's, I just saw a little right there. Ooh, you know what? Right up in here. And look at that. Just, I think it's turning out beautiful. Those petals just really, they just glow. They look light and feathery. I think I forgot one little area right in here. And another little spot right under here. And then let's define that little edge. Ah! Whew. I am so happy. Oh, Linda, yay, thank you. I am watching this video on my smart TV using the YouTube app. It's huge and it looks awesome. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you know, how am I gonna know? I'm not watching it. So all I know is I can just see, all I can see is from my end how my new camera is looking, and my gosh, do I love this thing. It was a lot of money, but it was just the best thing I have ever bought. And again, it has nothing to do with this OSB app or program freezing. The camera's just working splendidly. And you know, Diane, now that I'm thinking about it, it may be the fact that I have not streamed yet with this new camera. I have been streaming this with Zoom, and it's working fine through them. It's working fine through Minicam, but for some reason, just not with OSB. So I guess that's a problem I got to figure out. Okay, so ta-da! Guess what we're on to now? We are going to be on to, ooh, it's going to be a little scary, all those little stamens. But I just looked up here, and I just want to put just a little bit more blue. And now's a good time to kind of look around and see, just kind of, you know, give it a good look over. Leave if you have to. Just notice I need to make that a little bit darker. And now that I've made it darker, I don't want to lose that glow. So I just added some more in there, that little area. And right up in the top of that shadow. And why? Because now it's going to make that center look a little bit lighter and a little bit more like it's glowing. Woohoo! Oh my gosh, so happy with that. Just wait till I do this big and I let you see every little bit. Like, who knows, I may stream for 4 hours, stop for a couple hours, stream again, and it'll all end up, so you'll see one of my huge paintings from start to finish. So, all right, let me go ahead and dry this. And let's see. Oh, Shannon says, I walked away from the room for a few minutes and the little changes in the details make a huge difference. You should be happy. It is gorgeous. I am. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go ahead and dry that, and then we can get that little area done. Linda, she only sees the freeze glitches when you're running the hairdryer. So as I've been blow drying this, and I hope Diane is still here and listening, I realized that what I need to do is I need to get a hold of the camera company that I bought from, and their tech department is excellent. And I'm going to say, do you have any fixes for using this with OBS? And they probably already know why that's going on. So I'm going to give them a call Monday morning, and I'm sure that they're going to be able to help me fix it because they have just been just amazing. Okay, one more little area. I just want to add some blue right up in there. Just wanted to darken that little spot. That's why it's fun using a hairdryer, because you always see all these things. You're looking at it going, ooh, I need to do this. Oops, I need to do that. There we go. Okay. Oh, let me dry that a little bit more. Then I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to work on this little area. And then the very last, I'm going to take off that masking fluid. Diane, yeah, interference. That's why I have one of those bars that controls things. So I have everything on different outlets, and it would take me, I would be a little bit quicker with using my hairdryer, but I have it on low because I'm just kind of scared of blowing a circuit right in the middle of a live stream. I guess I've really lucked out though. Haven't had too much problem. Nothing's ever, my live streams haven't stopped. And it shows my, and that's what's weird. It shows my stream health is excellent. So, yep, I think it has to do with the camera and OSB. So, I'm going to call them and figure it out. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit more. Let's get right in there. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is, let me get a nice clear spot. Because I don't want to dirty, I don't want to dirty up that yellow in there. I want to make sure it's as clean as possible. And I'm using my 0. Taking that blue from the top. So I'm going to kind of paint around some of those little, you can see there's these little highlighted, really pretty areas. I did miss some lines in here, so that's okay. I'm probably going to have to scrub out a little bit. They almost look like those things in the ocean. What do you call them? They wave their little the sea anemones? Is that what those are called? The little things that wave in the ocean. What are those? That's driving me crazy now that I'm thinking about it. Finding Nemo. He hangs out in there, those little clownfish, they kind of hang out in those areas. That's what this little spot looks like. And again, we'll see how it looks once I pull all that masking fluid off, especially right in that area. Here's what I'm going to do right in this spot. I mean, there's just no way to get, it would take hours to get all of that in there, all those little, so I'm just going to just kind of putting some little lines. And then you can see right as it kind of curves down, it's kind of green. I need to find some clean red. There we go. So I guess what I'm trying to do is just kind of give the illusion that there's all these little things going on without having to go into too much detail. Okay, let's back it out for a minute. Because I think I want to go ahead and take off, I want to dry it a little bit, and then I want to take off that masking fluid. And in the meantime, here's how our colors dried. I think that's really beautiful. You can see how they just blended so well. Nothing looks dull. We have never created mud, which was what would happen if you tried to do that with 3 opaque colors. You would absolutely be creating mud. So Linda, I'm not painting all those little yellow lines. There's actually a ton of masking fluid in there. So once I get rid of all that masking fluid, then we'll be able to see how it looks, and I'll be able to figure out what I need to paint around and adjust. So I'm guessing you all can hear our puppies barking away. Shannon, you're so funny. Oh. Almost there. Okay. What I love about Zoom is you can change the settings so it deletes background noise, and I can be using the hairdryer and you won't even hear it. It's amazing. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's pull all that masking fluid off. So I hopefully, I mean, of course, this is our fourth class on this. I didn't do every single stamen. It'd be like, oh my gosh, we would have been here forever. Now, when I do the big one, I am going to focus my drawing, or when I am drawing, I am going to make sure that I spend a lot of time working on those stamens, because I really want that to be the focal point when I do the bigger painting. So that being said, this is so small, and you know, this is also a judgment call. You know, if you want to add in every single stamen, you can do that. And again, when I do my big one, I am going to really, I want to just say wow when I redo this. But for now, A few of the stamens are going to be okay. And if I have to, you know, I can even go and scrub out a few. But isn't that interesting? Look at that. That even kind of looks cool. Almost just like that. It kind of looks, oh no, I'm actually looking at that. In some sort of abstract way, I kind of like that. So another thing that I do is I go over with my fingertip and I just feel and make sure that I haven't left any masking fluid on there. So feels good. All right. Linda, if you can, you guys should really look at this on a big screen TV. I'm looking at 65 inches of wow. Linda, you're a funny lady. Okay, you know what? I think when I'm done with this, I think our TV is not that big and it's pretty old, but it is flat screen. So I think when I'm done, I'll pull this up on YouTube on our TV and see how it looks. Okay. Wow, that's pretty cool. See, so basically what I did was I masked out here and here. I don't even know why I came over and masked that one out. That kind of looks a little weird. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get another. I'm going to really clean out that center. Oh, I also have another plate that I love because instead of the center being up a little bit and curving down, it has a little indent. It's like a teacup plate. That one's full of paint right now, and I didn't want to take all the paint off, so I think I'm going to go buy a couple more of those. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to try a 0. Ooh, give me a minute here. I'm going to go get some clean water. Look at how dirty that is. Fresh, clean water. Let's see. So, Mary, I wasn't going to mask the center, but now I'm going to. Yeah, and you could probably be a little bit more careful, you know, than I was. But like, I could easily take this really tiny 5/0 brush. Okay, so let's zoom back in. So I could easily take this super, super tiny, what is that? Let's see, a 5/0, and I could just like go in here now. Let's see, and start going around. It would take a long time, but I could start cleaning up some of those edges with that dark, dark color. And I might just stick with this. For instance, right in that area. See, I'm taking that brush and I'm just kind of going around, cleaning up that area. That doesn't even belong there, so let me add Add some yellow. And really, when you think about it, I can actually put some lines in here that will mimic some of those little stamens that are kind of in the shadow. There. So I cleaned that up. Oop, wasn't a very good line. Might help if I go in here, get some yellow, take a little bit of that burnt sienna that I kept, and start adding in just a few of these to give me an idea of where I'm at. And then I can match the stamens to where I'm seeing them. This is a little tough. Again, had I been a little bit more careful when I was masking, I wouldn't be struggling like this. So I'm just trying to go around, clean up those lines. And as I look at these lines, these ones are actually, they're white, so I'm just going to kind of paint around those. And those little areas I'm trying to fill in, they'll kind of lighten up too. Well, that helped a little bit. So now I know what not to do when I do my big one. These ones over here are a little bit better. Imagine how beautiful it would be if you could get just all those beautiful strokes and, you know, the curls. I'm really excited to redo this. And here I went and experimented on you. I also noticed something else about the shadow. It's kind of, it's a hard shadow. And then it kind of lifts up into the stamens. Well, let me get to a bigger brush. Of course, those have to be painted yellow. Okay, now I'm going to take some yellow. Just Okay. Well, again, it didn't turn out the best in the center, but actually, go to a Oh, I just looked up and saw that it's raining down in Sun City. Yay! Isn't it nice all the rain we've gotten? I mean, it's not helping our drought any, but boy, did we need it. I'm so happy you're getting rain. Okay, so obviously everybody can see how I really kind of bungled bungled all this up. So I'm just going to try to do my best to paint around things. I think what I'm going to do is finish this up here quickly and then do some do some scrubbing out on some of these areas, and I think that'll help a little bit. I mean, it's not horrible. I'm not real unhappy with it, but that's okay. It'll do. Let's get. It's so funny how everything changed. They change colors. It's like one area will be really, the stamens will be really yellow, and I think that's what's going to make a huge difference. Aha. I know what I have to do now. Behind here, I need to kind of make a shadow. Boy, won't it be just beautiful when I redo this and really concentrate on all these shadows? And that's going to look really nice. That helped it quite a bit. Okay, I'm going to stop for a sec And I am going to grab a new paper towel. Okay. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to zoom out. Okay. So you can see it's not horrible. I could have really done a better job in that area, but it's not bad. If you zoom out even a little bit more, it just really brings out that whole dark area of that green, just really brings out the whole rest of the flower. So I'm really happy about that. So let's zoom back in and zoom in a little bit more. Okay. And now what I'm going to do while I'm letting that dry is just going to go and pick up some of the whites. I'm just going to scrub some areas out. I'm using actually my really hard oil brush. It's at the end, and I know I'm not going to go repaint in there. So I'm just picking up some areas where I've lost some of those whites, especially like right in there. Right here. That looks a little better. Let me turn it. Just a little bit more right there. Oh, I don't know why. I just really liked that little highlight right there. So I am going to scrub it out. I mean, obviously you can skip it. Let's see, I didn't do too bad this time with my highlights. I think it's just because it was just so white. Maybe a little bit right there. Let me turn it back this way. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I think it'll be easier for me to do this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I can see it a little bit better from a distance. So I'm going to pick up some of the highlight right there. There's some right along this edge. And right down into here. If you're using 140-pound paper, you may really, really struggle with trying to scrub that out. So this area right here, Oh, right along that edge, I lost that white. A little bit better. Whoa. Okay, I've got plenty of white down there. How about, let's get rid of that pencil line right there. Surprisingly, I think I did pretty good. I think there was a little bit of white right in this area. And that area is already pretty white. I think all my whites are pretty good, actually. Right there, maybe. And I'll go with a softer brush this time. Using my number 2, Wonder White. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I am going to dry the center. Okay, let that dry for cool off for a sec and make sure it's really dry. And actually, I've only got a few more minutes, so hang in there, everybody. We're almost done. Again, you know, it's not exactly what I thought, but I'm liking it. And I noticed you're all talking about 300 versus 140 pound. It is an absolute game changer. It's totally worth the extra money. And then somebody mentioned magic erasers, and I have tried them and I love them, and they work really well for bigger areas. But when I do my backgrounds, I really like to use these Dick Blicks. They've got a nice rounded area. The edges are rounded off. So when I hold it up and down and I go and make my little sparkly light areas and my backgrounds, they're just my favorite brushes. But I have tried those the magic erasers, other than the fact that they are absolutely wonderful when it comes to, you know, cleaning. And isn't that really what they're doing? It's just cleaning. See how I'm seeing some of these. Oh, you could use an X-Acto knife. Oh, hang on here. I know what I'm going to do. Okay, give me a sec. Oh, no. Wait. Oh, good. Ooh, I don't know how much battery I have left, but ta-da, my Dremel tool. I've even got my really small tip on there. I don't know why I didn't think about this earlier. Okay. Okay. I love a Dremel tool. Do not do that on 140-pound paper. It isn't gonna work. But look, oh wait, let me, this is what's great. Perfect. Yes, that is I have had this for a lot of years. It's a Dremel Micro and it's battery operated. Normally I haven't charged. I just didn't think about using it again. And then I get all these little itty bitty tiny, let me put it in a wide area. I get all these little tiny tips and some of them are sanding tips. And that is how, when I am getting pollen on, like when I'm doing iris, I use the sanding tip and I can just sand out color and it looks like pollen is dropped on the blossoms. So I I love this Dremel tool. Yeah, you know, I could get one with a cord, but usually when it's charged fully, it lasts a long time. So again, be extremely careful, be light as you're holding it. Don't push down into the paper. Let it kind of float over the paper. Here, let's do something else right here. So if you watch my hand, I'm letting the Dremel do the work. I'm not pushing. Otherwise, you could go right through the paper, but it won't work on 140 pound. I think you'd go right through it. But honestly, I've been doing it for a long time and I have never, ever gone through my paper. So, yeah, I love the Dremel tool. Look at how that worked so well on those little fine lines. And actually, I could do one more thing here. Now that it's kind of dry, I can go back with that green and I can really make fine line. You can see those lines that are, that really helps. And a couple right up in here. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is I'll look away from it a little while. And I mean, honestly, but I'm not going to do this. Let's zoom out again. I'm not going to worry about it. I think it looks good this way. I'm a little bit crazy about my details, but I think I'm just going to leave this because, like I said, I'm going to do this really big and it's going to take me hours and hours and I'm just going to stream and people can watch, you can come back and forth, you can see where I'm at, and I am really going to concentrate on those all those beautiful stamens and pistils. I just really want to just really attack those. I think it'll be great. So I am so happy with I'm so happy with this. I'm sorry that it took a little bit of extra time, but you know, in some ways I'm glad that it did because you really got to see some really amazing detail. I just saw this little area up there. There we go. Of course, you know, and that, oh, something else. When you get toward the end and you think you're getting done, put it away for a little bit. Not put it away, but kind of turn away from it. Go do something else for a while, and then come back and look at it from different angles. And of course, I totally forgot I was going to scrub out those little tiny areas. Let's zoom back in. Okay, not done yet. Give me a second here to fix those little areas. Also helps break up that dark, especially when you have something really light against it. Let's put one. And probably what I should do too is put just a little bit darker color around all these little blobby areas. I swear that does look like those little things that are in the ocean. And maybe just real quickly, just with a small brush. Ooh, that's kind of had a lot of, had some brown in it. I must have picked it up. Well, it helped a little bit. Again, I'll kind of fiddle around with it later, but let me zoom back out again. Yeah, I definitely need to really work on that area. Let's see. There we go. Ah, okay. Oh, let's see. Shannon and Debbie, because it's lost in the comments above, how damp is your oil brush when you use it for lifting? It's pretty wet. What I do is I just, let me bring this forward. I just kind of dip it in the water and then I immediately start using it. And then I just take my paper towel and just clean it off. So thanks, Shannon. And I can see you're all kind of, we're talking about the Dremel, the Dremel tool. Yeah, they're just so awesome. So I'm going to call this, like I said, it's done. I really should work a little bit more on that middle, and I will here in a little bit. I'll move away from it, and then I'll come back, and then I will go ahead and post a photo of it. But I think I'm really happy with this. I hope all of you have really enjoyed this. So let me turn back to the front here. Okay, so let me hold it up like this. Scoot to the side. So looks a little bit different on the forward facing camera, but I really like this. It looks really good. I'm pretty happy with it. I like all the detail I put in it. So I think this has just been a really fun tutorial. So, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready for next week for that peony, and I actually have it behind me, and I have it all drawn out. There we go. And I'm going to do something a little bit different with this one. I'm actually going to paint the flower first. That way, anybody that doesn't want to put a background in isn't having to wait and try to find the spot where I start on the petals. So I'm going to actually do the flower first, then I'm going to put a background in so everybody can see how I do that. So it's going to be a lot of fun because all the colors are really similar. I think I know this sounds crazy, but it's going to be a little bit more complicated, but in some ways not, because, and complicated isn't a good word, but at least we're not going to be doing all those crazy needles and these little center, little center stamens and pistils. Oh my goodness, but, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, if I have to, keep going with it, I'm not going to stress. I'm going to make sure that one is completely finished, especially because everybody paid, $15 for it. So thank you if you did. That will help me a lot. So I'm really excited to get to that next week. And let's see. Linda, I really enjoyed this fun group and a wonderful tutorial. Thanks, Debbie. Thank you, Linda, for joining. And Mary, wow, so fun. Thank you. And Diana, thank you, Debbie. This is great. Hey, you know what? We're going to have to get together because we are relatively pretty close. I mean, I'm only 80 or so miles away. So, and Loretta, same thing. I am so glad. Shannon, and it is an anemone. Thank you. Well, it does look like that, doesn't it? It kind of looks like it's coming up. Just waving its little finger. So, yeah, I'm going to work on that and I'll post it later. And I want to see everybody. So either post it on my webpage or on my Watercolors That Glow Facebook group, because I want to see, well, and I know some of you haven't probably, worked on it yet, but as the weeks go on, I hope you do. And if you do post it, I'm going to pin that at the top so that we can all compare them. And I'm just really excited to see how it looks. And, oh, Diana, let's see. I tend to lose pencil lines. Do you have any suggestions? Well, I made this mistake. I thought, you know what? I am going to use a really, really hard lead, like a 2H, 4H. And I thought, ooh, then my lines will be really light and I won't lose them. All I did was press into the paper and it made a mark. And then I still had a hard time seeing the lines. So that is one thing that you could do, and they won't disappear, but it's going to dent your paper a little bit because you're going to tend to press harder. I stick with about a 2H, and, I don't seem to have any problems on this 300-pound paper with losing my lines. In fact, a problem I probably have is that I have to go back and try to remove some of those lines. One artist, I'm not sure if anybody heard me talk about this yesterday, is a wonderful, wonderful artist. Her name is Susan Bourdette. What she taught me, and which I don't do because I don't like the effect, but she gets her initial lines on there and then she goes over it with Krylon fixative for paper. It's supposed to fix your lines there. I think it tends to let the paper pool up on the paper, it tends to let the paint pull up on the paper instead of sinking down. Maybe I just had a heavy hand with the fixative, but you could try it. The one thing I noticed you have to do is you have to go outside, you have to spray it, and I noticed she would spray it a couple of times and then you let it dry and then your lines will not move. Maybe I was a little too heavy-handed with the fixative. I don't know, but that is one thing that you can try. Let's see. Yeah, we need to get together. Do you do any in-person classes in Prescott? Yes, I've done a couple of workshops at the Mountain Artists Guild. Honestly, I would rather try to do some in-person things at my home. I was for a while doing one-on-one tutoring, but it was just taking too much time. What I need to do is actually get a group together and then we all do something in person all at once. That would be a little bit easier. So I'm definitely up to doing that again. Obviously, COVID, that kind of everything tumbled for a little bit. And so, yes, I do that. It's hard with the white areas. Yeah, you use a 2H or an HB. Shannon says the fixative is a bit like hairspray. I used it a lot when I did more graphite and charcoal drawing. Yeah, it is. It is almost kind of like hairspray. But again, I just don't do that a lot anymore. If you don't have a digital projector like I do, and then to transfer your drawing, some people will use the graphite paper, and that kind of works a little bit better. It will keep the pencil line on there more. And then there's a graphite, and then there's a wax one, and the wax tends to really stick, and it is a little bit lighter, so it will kind of repel your pencil lines a little bit. Let's see. Shannon, so I would think it affects the absorbency of the paper. It absolutely does, at least in my experience. But again, maybe I was too heavy-handed when I was spraying, because, that's when I was first learning to paint. And yeah, I just didn't like it. So, I will say this. I have noticed that if you draw out, for some reason I just thought of this. If you draw out do your contour drawing and then wet the whole thing with water, it tends to fuse the pencil marks into the paper. It's almost the same thing as if you go over it with yellow. Once you go over it with yellow, it's really hard unless you use a scrubber brush to get rid of those lines. And Diana's saying, oh, hi, Veronica from Canada. Hello. Let's see. And Diana, I've used graphite paper too. I try not to press too hard. Wax-free is what I've used. And I didn't want to try the fixative. Yeah, oh gosh, it stinks. And then you're putting a lot of extra chemicals on your paper, and that means your hand is touching those chemicals. So it works for Susan Bourdette. Fabulous, beautiful nature paintings, and I really look up to her. But I would just rather not use that. Yeah, and Shannon saying, I avoid the wax graphite at all costs. I use the graphite only. Yeah. Oh, Mary, you're looking at Susan Bourdette's work. She is amazing. Not only is she amazing, she is a kind-hearted, just wonderful, wonderful lady. I met her at a workshop up in Wisconsin, up in the Northwoods, and I just had so much fun with her. My husband was with her. We all went out to dinner one night. She is just, I don't think she's doing a whole lot of painting anymore, but and she's not doing as detailed of paintings as she used to. But I love her. She's so sweet. I got a hold of her, I don't know, probably a month or two ago, and I told her that it was because of her that I really got to where I was. She had the biggest influence on me, and just a wonderful, wonderful artist. So if any of you get the chance, check her stuff out. It's beautiful. Yeah, so anyhow, hopefully, again, some of you are going to join me next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so glad I did this one first because I'm really feeling a lot more relaxed, and I think we're going to have a great time. And Mary, she looks like she could be your sister. Yeah, I know, isn't that weird? I kind of thought that too. We both looked a little bit alike, although I'd say I kind of let my gray grow out. Don't really do much with it, but yeah, just she's a really great artist. Okay, so everyone, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sign off now. And again, get everything posted. And I'll look at one more thing. Oh, Louise DeMazzi. Yeah, I actually watched her run around with a camera and show everybody all the work that goes into filming. And she was such a sweet lady. She just seemed so gentle and kind. I actually tried something that she does. She says that she can't talk and paint at the same time. So she does the tutorials, then she goes back and she adds in the voice. And wow, I'm impressed that she can do that. I tried it. It was like, yeah, nah. Not not happening. I just don't know how she remembers exactly what's going to be coming up. It's almost like you'd have to talk after the fact. So yeah, but super, super nice artist. I really like her style too. Very pretty. All right, everybody, good luck, and email me if you have any questions, or through the website on the community or through the Facebook group. So I'm going to sign off now. Okay, everybody, have a great weekend.